You're now watching the Q&A. We're going to talk about some sketch comedy. We're meeting with my good friend Eric Hoffman, and I got to get him on here, sending him an invite, and in a moment we'll have him on. Beth Scott, how are you? Aaron Davis, good to see you too. We're doing a question and answer about writing sketch comedy. Won't have time to answer questions about a lot of other stuff, but we got some wonderful people here. Tiana, how are you? Nat Moore, how are you? And Eric Hoffman has joined us. I'm going to send him the invite to hop on in here. Sorry we can't have a lot of folks joining us today, but way to add a third person so we can have some questions answered on camera. We'll try to do that too. It'll take a second for Eric to get live with us.
Hey.
How are you?
What's up, man?
We had a lot of fun doing the Q&A on Facebook just a few minutes ago.
Yes, that was great.
Now let's see if we can get a few more questions. Let's see here. There we go. Terry Kennedy, one of my fellow Rittner High School graduates, good to see you. Aaron Davis says, were you in the UK? I saw you posted about the white Skittles label. Oh, no. That was a picture that somebody had taken at a British store, and I just shared it online. Yeah, there was Skittles came up with a campaign where they had white Skittles instead of having the rainbow Skittles. And they said there's only one rainbow during Pride. So in essence, it was a really good statement about, Pride Month. But so they, after Pride Month, they went on sale. And so they were in the clearance rack under Skittles White Pride. So it was not exactly the message I think Skittles was going for when they were trying to be inclusive.
No.
Nakia said, I am doing that acting thing with Disney stars. That's wonderful, Nakia. Nakia is one of the students from Actors Giving Back. I know her from there. And Eric and I are going to be teaching. Somebody here is just saying all kinds of stuff. Terry Kennedy had a question. What is the most challenging role you've played? That's great. We're here to talk about writing, but we're happy to talk about performance as well. Eric, what was the most challenging role that you've played?
Probably there was a movie called that I was in many years ago called My Big Fat Independent Movie. And it was a satire on independent movies. It was done kind of in that scary movie kind of vein. But there was a lot of stuff in there that I'd never done before, comedically or otherwise. So I would say that was probably the most challenging. There was a scene where I had to get angry. I was in a bathroom stall, and I had to get angry at the stuff that was not coming out of me when I wanted it to. I don't think I've ever played a scene like that before or since.
I remember that film. You did a great job in that. It was definitely outside of the sorts of characters that I see you play. It was very, very much, touching on the Vincent Vega from Pulp Fiction. Very
Thank you.
Action star.
What about you? As far as, you've had a lot more acting stuff than I have.
I think. Wow. The most difficult, I think, in terms of, it was the most fun I had, and definitely the most difficult when I played the character of Thomas in The Ringer. Difficult because it involved 2 weeks of training and of Olympic style training. And then having those glasses on, they were so thick, it was tough to see people a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So that was interesting.
Well, you pulled that off amazingly. That was quite a role for you. So
yeah, it was a lot of fun. I see Christopher Gable is here. Nakia says, how are you guys today?
Doing good.
I'm doing good too. Started off with a day in the pool because our neighbors have a little one just a little bit younger than Izzy. They said, we're going to the pool. And so Sam and I and Izzy hopped into the pool and joined that. That was cool. Oh, somebody called us two nerds, which is so true. We're definitely comedy nerds. Anybody who thought they were going to try to insult us by calling us nerds have only elevated us, because I think we both have made a career off of being comedy nerds.
I used to host a thing at the UCB on Franklin Avenue called Comedy Nerds Night Out. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So Matt Leach said, "Love is love." Totally true. I think he was.
So how can people find out about this this next class that we have coming up?
Exactly. Instant message me. My instant messages are wide open. If you want to find out about our class, it is a comedy intensive class, and that's happening this the intensive that we're having is the 31st of July.
Yes.
And that's going to be a lot of fun. It's an all-day intensive. Not all day. It's 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. It's only $150 if you take advantage of the early registration right now. And normally it's $200. We're going to help you from beginning to end come up with an idea for a comedy sketch, flesh it out, tell a story with it, get some laughs along the way, and have you with a pretty polished project when we're done at the end of that day.
Absolutely. And this will help you with any kind of writing projects you may have going on. This can help you with just, writing some fun stuff on Twitter, or if you have a vlog or blog or any kind of thing. Any writing training helps you across all forms, I think. So
yeah.
Somebody said that I'm a Mr. Larry Tate lookalike.
We have the same sort of glasses.
These are my new glasses, actually. I was just checking them out.
Yeah. That's from the Mr. Larry Tate Stan page, which means, I forgot who runs that one. I can't remember. It's been so long since I've been online. I've lost track with so many people. I'm going to send some waves back because a lot of people have been waving. I want to make sure I get a chance to do that.
Yeah.
So any questions that anybody has, if you have to head out and can't make it for the whole show, you can always come back. If we don't get around to your question while we're here, we can hop back in and answer those questions for you later. Chris Gable said, "I love you in the movie." Thank you, Chris. Good to see you and good to hear from you again.
Here's a question. What was some of the first instruction that you ever received as far as writing a sketch, or have you ever received instruction as far as a class or something?
Yeah, I studied at Second City. The first sketch comedy that I wrote was all secondhand knowledge from friends who had gone to Chicago to study. We started to do the network comedy troupe. I'm sorry, what was the question again?
When was the first kind of sketch writing class?
Oh yeah, and so I kind of did that, based on what everybody else was writing and what was inspiring me at the time. I was also a bank teller. I'd write things on the back of deposit slips when I would get an idea. But then I moved to Chicago, and my first improv teacher was Stephen Colbert. And then, after about 4 levels of classes, you start getting a better instruction in how to improvise a sketch on its feet, how to write it out. And that was with Norm Holly, who was also an early influence of yours, as I remember hearing.
Yes, in fact, that is my first official sketch writing instruction received from Norm Holly at Columbia College Chicago in the celebrated comedy workshop class that he runs over there. I believe they're still doing that. Yeah. Yep. That's the first kind of instruction that I had received on it, where somebody was who had more experience than me, was telling me, how he did it. So great class.
Great. Nakia just asked a great question. How do you help with nervousness? What do you do to help you get over nervousness, Eric?
Well, there's that old saying, use it. Use the nervousness, use this, use that. And I kind of, for years, I never really understood what that kind of meant. And it's pretty simple. It just means if you're doing something, try to incorporate whatever you're feeling into that in some way. Obviously, that can be a little tougher if you're supposedly playing a character who's very, very confident and, things like that. Nervousness you wouldn't think would affect them. But you can use that, what they call nervous energy, and focus that into other areas of the character, perhaps. Doesn't mean that they're nervous necessarily, but something maybe they have, they're just very energetic. But there's different ways, depending, of course, what character you're talking about and what it is you're doing, to use the nervousness to your advantage. And oftentimes, if you're just speaking to people, you have to get up in front of a class or something, they know you're nervous anyway, and they're nervous too, waiting for their turn. So, just don't let the nervousness get you down, I guess is what I would say.
Yeah, I feel the same way about it. It's that fight or flight mechanism. And if you're feeling that nervousness, that means that you're getting what you're going to need to have going on, physiologically and mentally to do the job that you're about to do. It means more blood's getting to your brain. It means, those butterflies you're feeling that's your stomach using all the nerves that it can, digesting the food and turning it into energy and oxygen. So if you're getting nervous, know that you need to be. After you say that first line, it disappears anyway. So instead of thinking of something that's abnormal, thinking of something that's very normal.
And the thing, too, is that just know that any actors ever, before they step out there or public speaker, they all feel the same way. So it's very normal. It's very natural.
Yep.
Just write it out.
Write it. And also, when you're performing material you've written yourself, it's a little bit easier. It's okay when to change the lines and when to drop a line here or there. It happens.
Here's a good thing too. Here's a good little tip, because sometimes one of the side effects of being nervous is we forget something that we have memorized.
Yep.
This happened to me one time. I'll just real quick. I went up on an open mic night back in the early 80s when I was first out in Los Angeles. There was an old club there called The Horn, and it was on Santa Monica Boulevard. It was kind of it was in Santa Monica, but I think Joan Rivers got her start there. A bunch of people got their start there. It was very famous for many years. I went up, I'm maybe 30 seconds into it, and I forget where I'm going next.
Uh-huh.
So I apologize and say, I'm sorry, I can't remember what comes next. Have a good evening. And I walked off the stage. Of course, what I should have done is always have a backup plan. That's an important thing if you're speaking for something or you're doing a performance of stand-up comedy with jokes. Have a backup thing that you always have memorized, that you have ready to go. So that's what I learned from that.
Yeah.
If you know you're going to be nervous for something, have a little something that will cut that. A joke, something that's funny usually will help in that kind of situation.
Our good friend Tony Shea is out there. I just see he just started watching. You were into
awesome.
The Human Being, right?
Yep. I've been watching his artwork he's putting on his social media.
Yeah.
Good to see.
Good to see him here. Stephen Hamm is here, and he said we need a plan for the backup plan. That is from something. What is that from? I know that's from something. If not, you're a genius. Lauren just asked, does Eric know about Matusi? Have you ever seen me do my character, Matusi Finkel?
I believe I have, yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a while. Great character, yeah.
I won't subject him to a game of taboo right now. But it may seem
well, I'll come on a show sometime and we'll do just that.
All right. Sounds like a great idea. Somebody also asked how long, let's see, who was it? Yeah, Mr. Larry Tate's stand page, which means that's going to be Lauren. How long have you two known each other? Which is a great question. So I think I knew of you before you knew of me. And then we officially met at Susan Messing's barbecue one summer out here in LA, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so where I saw Eric first was his very well-known character that I later had a chance to hench for as a henchman, the character of Brain Warp. And he was in a show at the Annoyance Theater. I went there because my good friends Steve and Tracy Jones were with the Central Methodist A Cappella Choir. And you keep on hearing me, people who've been watching us today, reference Central Methodist University. But yeah, two good friends of mine, we were all in choir. When the choir came through Chicago, Steve's cousin was in co-ed Prison Sluts, I think at the time. And so Tom, why Tom's last name flipping out of my head right now? Can't believe I just did that. Anyway,
From the Annoyance?
yeah.
Oh, Tom Keevers?
No.
Okay. Tom Booker.
Tom Booker, thank you.
Yeah.
So Steve's cousin was Tom Booker. And so we wound
Wow.
up, he said, my cousin's in this show at the Annoyance. And I'm like, I haven't seen a show at the Annoyance yet. I think I'll see this play called Co-ed Prison Sluts.
Yeah.
And, yeah. The choir director was like, you're taking a bunch of my students off to see a play named what? From what I understand, it's called Co-ed Prison Sluts. And he was like, have a good night. And so we went to see that, and it was like the late night show up after that. They said, coming up next, Brain Warp, the Baby Eater. And I'm like, wait a minute. This theater gets even more disrespectful. And so I had to see that because I had seen, walking into the theater, this giant head and hands over the theater, which was the head of Brain Warp. And so that's how I first ever saw Eric.
Well, and you know, yeah, I love that memory that you have, but I think that it's very possible that we may have met at some point during those times because it happens. But there's so many people, it's hard to remember everybody. But
yeah,
but then I remember the party you're talking about in Hollywood when we kind of officially first met, and you were actually doing some magic acts inside, and I was outside dealing with something that I had ingested. But I remember coming inside and seeing you doing some magic stuff. I thought that was great.
Yeah. My friend Lauren just said, sounds like you traumatized those kids taking them to see that show. They were college age. Root TV Dumpster Fire says Bill Cott equals comedic legend. Damn it. Well, thank you.
That's right.
And my guest is a comedic legend as well. Well, we only have a few more minutes. Any last questions anybody has? In the meantime, we'll tell you a little bit more about our class. The 31st of July from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. It's an intensive sketch comedy class. You can find out more information. We're going to add the links in the comments to this, and you could also instant message me if you'd like to find more about it. But that's July 31st. Eric, tell them about what's going on August the 17th.
Actually, I don't know if that's the confirmed date yet for it, but it's going to be sometime in August. Definitely, yeah.
We'll have more information about that then, but tell them what's coming up.
Yeah, in August, just look for this. We're going to be starting our new, debut episode of our new investigative podcast, where we deep dive into the world of sketch comedy. And the first debut show, we're going to be taking a look at a group that Bill and I were in together for 2 years or so. And it's called the Dickey Bell Twist Dance Party. We're going to have a loaded podcast with all the original members and some people that are going to be sending some messages to us from our past, and pictures, video clips. We're going to do it up and just show what it is that you and I went through during the 2 years that we were trying to make things happen with this sketch group. It was a great time. And, it's not a negative thing at all. I can't even remember any negative things that we ever had during that whole time. It was all fun and positive, and we were just all trying to create. And, we learned a lot of stuff. We made some mistakes, but through the whole thing, we had a blast. And I can't wait to talk about it.
Yep. And then also on the 27th, there's an improv trick sample class, and it's the first week of a 4-week class. So if you want to sample, if you want to join up for a full 4-week class in improvisation, you could do that too. You can instant message me here. We'll also have the links below. Time for one final question from Delisa Richardson, asking, will this class be good for newbies? Absolutely.
That is actually who it's geared towards. It's like you just come off the street, whatever, and you've never even heard of a sketch. What do I do? And we'll lead you from top to bottom. We'll show you how to do it. It's fun, it's easy, and it helps you with the other writing things that you have going. Yeah,
it's designed for that very purpose. We even have a glossary of terms that we'll give you, so you get a better idea of what are the terms that we use to create this sort of sketch comedy with, and it's really, really aimed at the beginner. Of course, there are people who have been writing a bunch of years and wanted to kind of get back to basics and study some of the terminology that we use. That's great for them too, but this is really, really with the beginner in mind.
Absolutely.
A couple more questions. I'm glad you enjoyed that answer, Ms. Richardson. And also, Stephen Ham asks, Eric, are you from the St. Louis area? He is not, unfortunately, but let him know where you're from.
Well, originally I was born in Angola, Indiana, which is the northeast corner of the state, but spent most of my time in Fort Wayne, Indiana, growing up, and then since then lived all over the place. But had a good time and pushed Fort Wayne to the limits as far as performing sketch comedy. We did it all over the place. There's a great wig and costume store there with props called Stoners, run by magician comedian Dick Stoner. Great guy, and I think his family now also runs the place with him. So, and then we did, we just did everything we could. We did nightclubs. We did. There was the library had a public access channel, so we went down there and shot a couple of sketch shows there. I mean, we did everything we could in Fort Wayne. So.
And then we'll close out with one final question, because I know Lauren's asked it a couple times now already. She says, if Wizards gets a reboot, irritate when you can't. You know what? It would be great if Eric could be like another teacher or another wizard on that show.
How about his brother?
What's that?
How about his brother?
His brother? That'd be awesome. The vice principal or the dean of wizard students. But it's interesting that two of our very good friends, Scott Robinson and Kate Flannery, who played the Lampshades, played Harper Finkel's parents in an episode. Did you know about that, Eric?
No, I didn't know about that. That's great.
They played like their showbiz Vegas parents.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So, folks, if you want to know more about those classes, either give me a message, instant message. My instant messages are wide open, or go to theimprovtrick.com, and we'll also have those links down there in the comments. Thank you so much for being a part of this amazing Saturday afternoon. Eric, thank you for taking the time out to get together and talk about this, and I can't wait to teach the class with you on the 31st.
Looking forward to it. Thank you, Bill.
All right. Thanks a lot, everybody. See you soon.
Thanks, everybody.